Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to the ASBAS Business Station webinar on building empathy with your customer with user research. So my name is Eunice, Sari, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of UX Indonesia, as well as the co-founder of CX Insight, Customer Experience Insight in Australia. So my company actually working in the area of human-computer interaction as well as user experience design. We started in 2002, and then we also started in Australia in 2018, and we are helping company around the world to build their customer experience, doing a lot of user experience research, as well as developing product and services that people love. So I'm the one of the ASBAS advisor for the digital solution, and I'm happy to talk with you if you have any questions or any answers in relation to our user experience for digital and non-digital product, digital marketing, business strategy, customer experience, design thinking, website, e-commerce, and many more. So what we are going to do today, we are going to talk about what is user experience research, how do we start a user experience research, some user research technique, and some case studies that I have done before. So just as a background, why do we have to think about this? Because now we live in the disrupted era where there are a lot of new technology and new innovation that we face every day. And especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have more challenges that we have to face, and we need to rethink how we actually do our business and how we actually improve our customer service throughout the different touch point of our businesses. So this is an example how we actually relate differently. In the past, we can meet people face to face, but nowadays, we limit our interaction with people. We trying to do everything online and have less of a lot of movement for ourselves. We do also need change the way we eat, the way we go to restaurants, we go to places, interact with people. So everything has changed. And with these rapid changes that happen every day, how can we cope? How can actually we make things better? For example, in the past, when we are, for example, when we plan something for our businesses, we plan this way. But now we cannot just do it that way. And again, we have to change the way we run our business. So traditionally, when we want to develop either product or services, we will start with the requirement, then requirement from the business. Oh yes, we want to develop a new service for our cafe or our restaurant. And then we're gonna design it. Design means okay, well, maybe this is what we do. We want to buy this furniture. We want to create this app for our cafe. Then we implement, and then we verify, and we actually launch it, and we maintain. But then it doesn't always work that way, because the business owners are not the users. We often have a lot of assumptions, but sometimes we don't really know what is actually happening with our users. And then as a result, we face a lot of failures for the design or for the work that we are doing. So now we are thinking about how we can actually trying to understand our users better. So when we talk about user experience, we are talking about the user relationship with a brand over a period of time. It's not about the user interface, the app, or the website. It's about the relationship that you as the business owner build with your clients, you who has the brand over a period of time. And user experience, it's not just about product, digital product, but it can be any products and it can be services as well. So when we talk about how we can improve our user experience, we are talking about a different aspect. We are talking about the business aspect. We are talking about the technological aspect. We are talking about the design aspect. And also, we also talk about the socio-cultural aspect, because what we think works here, for example, in Australia, may not work in US or may not work in Asia. So we have to rethink a different way on how we address our users' need and their pains and gains. So a designer, designers should always keep their users in mind. So designers here is not just the people who design something on the website. So designers here are you as the small business owners who design device solution for your business. Designers here can be anyone who who has the role to solve the problem. So we have to, in the user experience process, the process is based on the human-centered design, which means this process is centered around the human, around the users, who is actually the users of our product and services. If we have this soap factory, who is actually our users? Is it only the people who will buy our products? It may be not. If you talk about the toy factory, maybe the users are the people who actually use the toys, and they can be children, but they are not the customers who actually pay for your product and services. So users definition can be really broad. It involves the users who actually really use it, and also involve the customers, the stakeholders, and actually everyone who is like affecting how your product is being used. So when we talk about the user experience, we are talking about how we can actually building empathy, how we can actually put ourselves in the shoes of our users. So this is the picture of me like trying to understand the day-to-day life of these farmers, because we are developing an app for the farmers. But the owner of the app did not understand why this app did not go through, and why there was no one like really use this app, because this app has been built and they have done a lot of comparative research, how actually like different agricultural apps have been developed. And then I did user experience research when I did a live-in, when I did an ethnography research, and I'm trying to understand the needs of these farmers. And the result was amazing, because a lot of things that the builders or the designers of this app never thought before. And this information can only be found when we did the user experience research. So on the right side is a picture of my colleague who is actually in Indonesia at that time, and he was pretending to be the driver, the ride-hailing for one of the biggest ride-hailing service. He pretended to be a driver, so he would understand exactly like what the users of this ride-hailing service is actually doing. And then because this company actually wanted to develop and launch some new services as well as new products. So when we talk about the user research, sometimes people ask me like, what is the difference between market research and user research or user experience research? So when we talk about market research and user experience research, so market research is actually part of the user research. So the market research actually focusing on whether, focusing on the people who will actually buy the product or the service. The purpose of doing the market research actually trying to understand, if I design this product, if I develop this product or services, will there be any market? If there is, how big is the market? Who is my competitor? Who is the landscape? And then that's why they will do a lot of surveys, heavyweight methods and tools, and trying to get all the statistics. The process is so linear, and then once you got the result, and that's it. But different from market research, the UX research will be done usually after you show that you have the market for your products. And then in the user research, you actually not just seeing the people who is buying your product. The research will actually looking at the ecosystem, looking at who actually playing in this ecosystem. It can be the customer, it can be the other users, it can be the government, it can be anybody. Actually, who actually create the value for this product. There are a lot of questions that we will ask. This is a question of the market research question, of course, the design question, the technology question, the socio-cultural questions. And the method is not just the one that is heavyweight method that you need a lot of people to participate in the research, but you can also have a spectrum of lightweight methods, like your usability testing, where you can only have only 5 people, or other different kind of methods. We're going to discuss it later. And this process is iterative and incremental improvement. So basically, when you do user research, you will do it several times throughout the design and development of the product and services that you have. So how do we start a UX research? So we're going to start with the problems. Albert Einstein said we cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Why can't we do that? Because when we use the same thinking, we are not having what it is called as the growth mindset. Things change, and things need to be addressed case by case. Cannot always be addressed in the same way. That's like the basic thing when you are thinking about design. So basically, on the right side of this picture, you are looking at a movie from The Good Place, where as the business owners, you usually are confronted with a lot of problems that you have to face. And then this is something that you have to really think okay, you need to make a choice, you go to the left or to the right. Both ways you're gonna lose, but you can also gain. Which one do you want to choose, right? So this is called a wicked problem, which means this problem cannot be easily solved. And then I have a special course on this called design thinking. If you are interested, you can join and we talk more about that. So basically, by knowing this problem, you're gonna start with the end. The problems that you have, you're gonna list out, and then you're gonna identify based on your knowledge who is actually the problem for. And then after that, you will find out why is it a problem. And then after you know all this problem, then you will be able to make a priority, who is this problem for, and why is it a problem. And then you're going to decide what you want to do in your research. So this is basically the process. And the user research actually happened from the beginning, during the prototyping, the development, and then when you release the product, and when you ready to release the product, and then when you release it, after you release it, and then you improve it. So basically you will involve your user throughout this process. So when you think about user research, you will think of a two philosophy, but that you will not only learn about the users who is actually directly involved in using your products, but it is everybody who is involved, like can be the stakeholders, can be the people, the government. You will need to think about all of them who are involved in the system. And then you also need to learn about the process of agile, in which you will request feedback from the users and get their insight, and then you're gonna do the process of improving your product and services based on the feedback from the users. So with this user research, you are going to learn the philosophy of fail early, fail fast, because you're gonna learn from the user very quickly, and then based on that, you will understand what to do, and then what you are going to fix after that. So let's how we can actually understand our users. Basically, with the user research, like it is you here, and then how you can actually understand them. Your users may not be directly related to you, but then with the research actually bridge uh, between you as the external and the users. So this is an example of IKEA, who has done a lot of user research for their product and services. So they do a lot of user research to test if people are enjoying their time when they are using the IKEA product. So they put a lot of showrooms where you can go, and then actually you can test, and people can really really like a feel like a have a feeling about using this. They can imagining, and they may decide like to buy this product, maybe not, but basically what they will get it from here, like how people actually enjoying, and then based on what they find, they will find insight, and they're gonna develop further like their product and services. And it is on the right bottom here, you can see this is IKEA in Perth. This reminds me of a story of the IKEA in India, where where IKEA sent a person go to India, and then this person actually just stay in India 3 years before the IKEA in India was built. What does this person do? So this person actually just like go around, and then like learning how actually people buying stuff, learn how actually people doing what they are doing, keeping their stuff in the wardrobe, and then learning about the pricing. And then they actually invite some Indian people, like going to Sweden, and then ask them to taste how the IKEA in Sweden feels like, and then they go back and then they learn from this experience. Once they got enough data, they started the IKEA, and as you see now, IKEA has been really successful around the world. Basically, that's understanding the users, but users is not limited to people who is using it, but also the stakeholders. Stakeholders can be like the government, the organization that is involved in making things possible. And with these stakeholders, you really need to identify those who have the high power and those who have the low power, those with the low interest and a high interest. And then with this quadrant, you will understand those with a high power, with a high interest, you need to manage it closely. But those with a high power but a low interest, you just need to make them satisfied. Maybe they just need to know whether you comply with the requirement. They don't really care what you are doing. But if they have a low power and a low interest, well, you don't really need to spend so much time on trying, investing so much time to make them happy. But if they have a high interest but no power, then you need to keep them informed. Then you need to make them, okay, well, this is what is going on. You can still join if you want to, but yeah, if not, that's okay, because they are still important in this process. When we do the user experience research, there are different levels of depth where you can actually start doing your research. So it will start here with the explorative, and then the second one, the descriptive, and then that one is the explanatory. And what does it mean by that? When we explore, we just need to explore what is actually people doing. Oh, well, they are doing in my restaurant. They just come to my restaurant. They just watch, and then they are doing, okay. And then descriptive. What does it mean by that? You actually look it more carefully how these people actually do what they are doing, how they how they sit, how they drink, how they order. And then in the explanatory, you try to understand something deeper, like why they are ordering this food, not this food. So that's different levels of doing the user research. You will, when you do user research, there are many ways on how you actually can do it. You can start by reading the books, reading the report. You can also start by reading the news and actually getting the research from other people, which is called secondary research. The purpose of doing that is actually giving you some ideas how you can approach your clients, your target users. Because I might not know exactly what do the people who are coming to our store, what is their background or what is the current landscape actually in the e-commerce while I'm developing something on e-commerce for Australia. And then after you got a better understanding from your competitor, from the landscape, from the report, then you will approach the target users, maybe the people, the moms, for example, in Australia, and who actually will be using your product. And then you can directly involve them, talk to them, and getting insight from them. And when we are starting something new, we are doing what is called generative research. It means that your product does not exist, your service does not exist, and how actually you can make them exist. And that's when you are doing the research, the generative research. But when your product has existed, then you will evaluate before you actually can do the further research or further improvement or revamping your idea or solution. When we do the research, we will try to understand from what people say and what people do. We cannot just trust people what they say, because it may be true, it may not be true. So you have to look at from different angles to understand their behavior and their attitude, to get a full knowledge about what the user needs and what the user wants. By having the deep insight from your users, if it is a new research, It will guide you to make decision. But if it is not research on a new product or services, it can validate for the decision that has been made. We also can collect qualitative and quantitative research. What does it mean by qualitative research and quantitative research? So this is an example of a quantitative and qualitative research. When we talk about quantitative, we talk about like how many we can count, we can substantiate with number. But we cannot do that when we are doing the qualitative research. So we would say, wow, this burger is so nice. It's just so yummy. It's so crunchy, the vegetable and so on. The sauce is so salty, but it is milky, yummy, and blah, blah, blah. But from the quantitative research, like for the person, you can quantify, oh, well, in order to create that experience, you need to have a three portion of the sauce of this, 4 portion of this tomato sauce on like a different, basically being able to count everything. So the question will be, which one is better, quantitative or qualitative? You need both. You need both. So that's why both question, like at the quantitative, both research, like at the quantitative and the qualitative, actually complement each other. Because when you, for example, you would be able to see, okay, in my Instagram, I got a 7,000 people. Do they really like? Well, I got maybe 1,000 like. Does it mean that people like my product? Doesn't mean that the people really understand what I'm trying to say in my Instagram. It's probably not. But if you ask each of the people, like, what do you think about this post? How do you understand? And they will answer. Then you will know whether their understanding is in line with what you are trying to post or trying to communicate in your artwork for your Instagram. So we often have what is called as a net promoter score. So this is like a one form of the user research where you can actually like count, like you ask the people like to how many, how like will you from 1 to for example 0 to 10, how likely are you going to recommend this product to other people? And then they might say, well, 4, 9, 7, 8. With the 7 and 8, you don't really do anything. But with 9 to 10, you would consider that the number of the people as the promoter. And then 0 to 6, you will consider that as the detractors. And then by subtracting the promoters, subtract the detractors, you will get the net promoter scores. But this net promoter score does not guarantee that you get the whole pictures. So with this score, you sometimes need to ask people further, like why you choose what you choose. Then you get a better and richer insight about your service or your product. When we talk about user need, when we see the users, the result of the user research, we're gonna analyze it based on whether this is like based on the functionality, how can they use it properly, like what do they think. The second one like is about the reliability, whether our service is reliable for them or not. And then the question about usability, is the system usable, easy to use or not? And then the next one is the fourth one is the proficiency. Like, can they really use it? And if they can, will they be able to move up to the next level? And the final one, when you fulfill all the functionality part, the reliability, the usability, the proficiency, you will think about the creativity. The creativity is not the first one, but creativity is created once everything is working well, everything is reliable, usable, proficient, and then the user will think, oh, maybe we should not have this kind of ATM. We probably need something new. So when we got all the result from the users, we are going to start writing the persona. So the persona here, as you can see on the right side, is based on the synthesis of a different kind of users. And I'm trying to group them based on the similar goal that they have. This persona helps you to make a decision, business decision, design your product and design your service much better. What is it in the persona? You will have the information about the demographic information of the users. You can have the goal of the users. You can have the quotes, the market size. If you have done the market research, you will find the motivation of this persona, what makes this persona inspired, motivated when achieving the goal. You will get the frustration, what makes the persona felt bad and frustrated when achieving the goal. And then you will make a detailed description about the persona, their personality traits, behavior, perception, motivation, and frustration. The channel and touch point that persona usually use to achieve the goal, and the contextual scenario where the persona use the product and services offered by the company. We are not going to discuss about persona in more detail because there will be a special class of how we can actually create a persona. And based on what we got from the user research, actually we are going to understand what is the gain, what is the pain, what is the gain creators, what is the pain relievers. So the gain creators is something that we create based on the current gain that the person has. So for example, the gain of this person who attended the cafe is actually, well, I really like the coffee, the taste of the coffee in the shop. So they actually are happy customers. So you would be thinking, okay, how we can make them happier, right? But this customer also have the pains as well. The pain would be like, okay, well, it is the shop is too small and we don't have space. So you will be able to think of, okay, how we can actually relieve the pain for the customer. And based on the pain relievers and the gain creators, you're going to create product and services that people really use, that your target user will be really happy to use that. So there are a lot of user research techniques that you can learn. I'm going to show some of them. Basically, there are many ways, all roads lead to Rome, that basically there are many ways for you to understand your users. So based on the goal that you have, you can choose whatever methods that actually work for you. So for example, we can do design thinking. So you can come to my webinar on design thinking 2.0. So basically it's a method where we collectively work together with the different stakeholders based on the data to solve the problem of the users. The next method is competitive analysis. So we basically look at the different similar products and we do the analysis. We do the trying to see the similarity, the differences, the strength, the weaknesses of each of the product, and then position where your product is actually located. And we can do design sprint, where we involve the stakeholders to really think how we can actually improve the product and services. we created the design system. With the design system, we will be able to understand how the user actually interact with your digital marketing product, how they can interact with your it's make a guideline to make people really like understand the identity of your product. It's include the branding guideline, but it's not necessarily just the branding guideline or the branding identity, but it rooted back to the needs and the results of from the user research. You can also do ecosystem map. So with the ecosystem map, you will identify who is actually in the ecosystem and how their values actually affect our product and services. Say, for example, you have a cafe. You need to do the ecosystem map by trying to do a research with the people, the patrons who come to your cafe, the people who owns the coffee shop, also like the city people who are taking care of the parking, and then your neighbors and everybody actually who are affected with the way how you deliver your service. Then we have a journey map. We are trying to see each of the user journey, like through all different touch point and different channels that you have, and what is their experience in using your product and services. Then we can also do mapping for the product, for the pain engine of your customers when they are using your products. We can do service design when we are actually looking the service from the back end of your, for example, if you have a cafe, like how it is going on from the cashier, from the kitchen, as well as from the supplier and from the system as well. You look at all of them carefully. You can do the A/B testing, for example. You will compare, you make a two different design, and then you compare A and B, which one your customer prefer. You can do analytics. There are a lot of analytics tools that you can use, like Google Analytics, and without you doing anything, you gather a lot of data, how people actually using your website or your apps. You can also do the card sorting, for example. When you want to design a pamphlet, when you want to design a website, when you want to design any promotional material, with the card sorting, you will try to design the information architecture that resonates with your customer experience. You can do concept mapping, cognitive mapping. You can also do desirable studies. For example, like when you have a website, you ask the people, do you prefer what do you think about this particular service? Sometimes when you come to website, then you will get a customer feedback. They can straight away write down yes or no, happy with the Likert scale. You can do that. They can also do the diary study, where, for example, you make a diary. You ask your customer to make a diary for a certain period of time. So you will be able to really know what their day-to-day behavior, the self-report process, so you can get a better idea how they can they experience their day-to-day that actually impact to their behavior in using your products and services. If you have a customer service, you can also look at your call log analysis. You analyze it, how they are actually your customer like reflect what kind of complaints they have and how you can actually improve from there. You can also do contextual inquiry, where something like what I did before, going to the field and then talking to the people while I'm observing how they are doing their day-to-day things. We can do eye tracking. A lot of people doing eye tracking when they have the website or or the e-commerce. Basically, you are trying to see like what the heat map where people actually um, looking when they are in your website. You can also do the focus group where you will learn the customer attitude and belief and desires. You can do ethnography study. You go to the market, you go to the place where your clients are, and then get a in-depth understanding about their behaviors and activities and experience in their daily life. You will do intercept studies where you can just, for example, I'm going to go to the airport and ask anyone, like doing guerrilla studies, and basically trying to interact with your customers when they interact with the specific brand that you have in the context. So there are many ways you can actually do. There are many approach that you can do in the user research. They can give you qualitative result. They can give you quantitative result. They involve you straight away with face-to-face with the clients, with your customers. So for example, if you doing in-depth research like this, then you will be able to talk with them directly. But if you do analytic, you will get data not directly, but it is a secondary insight. As I said before, NPS survey to gauge and increase your customer loyalty. But again, you cannot just rely on one method, just survey or just testing. But you can do a lot of things, like you can combine all these methods, like the product out, for example, you do the UI expert review, user interface review, where when it is done by an expert, but you can also test it through usability testing with your client. And then you can also get an NPS survey from so many people in your website and get an idea what do they really like about our service. So there are a lot of things that you can do. So basically, if you look at the landscape of the user research method, you can see, is it attitudinal, where you can focus on what people say, or the behavioral, where you focus on what people do. Whether this is giving you the qualitative result where people just talk and then there is no number on, or you will be able to get some data, some information in form of statistics. So that's a quantitative research. So for example, I'll just give you an example of how we do the observation. So when we look at this person, this observation, remember I was talking about a different level of exploratory, descriptive, and explanatory. So when you do the exploratory, so basically you are asking the person what. So this person is sitting at the edge of walkway, looking down at laptop on lap and earphone in ears. So how does this person do the thing? How is the person doing that? What emotion and techniques are present? It is beyond the facts that you can quickly glance when you look at the person. So when he's sitting, we look at that the sitting cross-legged back up against the rail. And then when not why, it's like how he looked down at the laptop on the lap, because he got the loose papers and electronics on the ground and back right next to the body. So he has to be looking down continuously to make sure that everything is on the right place. And then having earphone on the ears, like he seems to be in the zone to concentrate and to work. And then you ask why. why is this person doing that in that way? What inferences can we draw from these activities? Well, perhaps he needs to finish some things up before getting on the flight. And the only available electrical outlet around within the earshot of the gate. And maybe he wants to relax on the flight and get this stuff done now. So that can be your assumption, but if you have the opportunity to ask more, you can do what it is called as the contextual interview, where you will ask the person while you are observing this person. So this is not an in-depth interview, but actually like what I'm doing here, like I'm looking at how this person is putting together uh, the paddy on the wheelbarrow, and then I was asking, what do you do, and why do you do that? I'm observing how he does it, and then I was not sure about what he's doing and the purpose of his doing that. So I interrupted him and asking him, why do you do that? So he explained to me. So I did not make my own assumption because I had no experience in this field, and then I had the opportunity to ask the question. So that is called contextual interview. So sometimes the observation is combined with the contextual interview. So when you do the observation, there are at least 5 things that you need to really focus on. The first thing is the activities. What is this person actually doing? And then the environments of this person doing something. And then the interaction of this person when he's doing the thing we are observed. So for example, if he's ordering food in your restaurant, does he interact with the waiters, or does he do it by himself? Does he look at the computer, or does he do anything? What kind of interaction? It can be human to human, it can be human to things, it can be anything. Basically, you're gonna describe it in a great detail, like how he's doing that and why he's doing that. So follow these 3 things, like what, how, and why he's doing that. And then next one is the objects. The objects are any objects that you can see around the people, that around the things that we observe. So when we observe somebody doing something in the city, some doing like a shopping, for example, then you will see what kind of object does he bring. For example, he brings his phone, he's having a bag, he's having something else, and any object that is around the person or the people you are observing. And then finally is the residence. This is the residence is like the users himself or herself, like the person who actually doing the activities that we are observing. And then we also need also see like what else, like what else do they do we see, like are there any other people around him, around her? Is there any friend, or is he by himself? So all this information needs to be considered and taken into consideration. So there are a couple of case studies that I will quickly share with you. This is a case study of designing a service. So basically in this case study, we are learning how we are doing the user research to understand how people shopping in a supermarket. Basically, the idea is to create a better service, like using the technology to create the better user experience for shopping. So this happened back in 2003, where in Germany, where the RFID technology was introduced. Basically, people um, trying to was being asked to to do things like with the technology or with like a smart or object like a smart camera, smart weigh, smart scale, smart shelf, smart scan, anything smart, basically smart mobile trolley, and basically they whatever like they pick from here, they can scan on their trolley. There's a little computer here, and they can just go out without doing anything in the cashier. So basically, it's the hope is to like make sure that everybody is avoid the long line. You can see some of the stuff are available right now, like it's a self-service scan product here. But this is like about maybe more than 18 years ago. And what we did was actually we did the user research, trying to understand how people are doing stuff in the supermarket. How is this related to the city council? When is this store open? When people come in the store, like what time and what sort of people? How does the people buy and what people buy at certain time? So basically, we also look at like what people buy today at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. We also look at the behavior of different kind of people coming to the shop, like in the morning, in the afternoon, and how is like beside the people who is buying the product. We also look at how the shop actually change the price depending on the number of people actually coming on certain times. So for example, in the morning, milk can be cheap, but in the afternoon, milk can be really expensive. So basically, it is not a product that we develop, but it is the service that we develop. By knowing each of these different users and stakeholders in the process, we created a better service for them, and then we looking for opportunity where we actually can put the technology that actually can improve the shopping experience. Because it's not just the product that we look at, but it's also the product and the service and or the service itself. And as you know, right now, like if you go to one of the here in Perth, like one of the shop, one of the like Woolies, like Woolly stores, they actually have a similar. This is after like 20 years of when we started the first user research on this area. So there have been, the result is not always like a straight away, because a lot of socio-cultural aspect that people need to consider, the security, the consent. Even now, when it is introduced, people are still not using it. So this is also another things that that I've been doing as well. Like when people coming to the shop, like we are also like observing how is their behavior, like when they are using the Safe WA apps. So there are a lot of things that you can actually learn if this is related to the business that you are doing. And then the second case study is another user research when we develop e-commerce for basically for everyone. But when it is being tested, when we did the user research, this e-commerce did not work out for some age group, because the interaction are the interactions design are very different. The people who designs but people who designed the apps were like young people, and their way of interacting and the way they behave in the app, for example, they prefer swipe. But for certain group of people, they might not be able to swipe things easily. They don't understand. They don't know about this. So how can we make sure that our design is acceptable for everyone? And then the third case study is the case study when we design for the marginalized community. This can be like people who never involved in any research, and then it might be very difficult for you to engage with them because they don't really like read books, and they might not be they might not know much about the technology. They probably are really like people who are not really using the product that we are developing or the service that we are developing. But we can look at this like we cannot just like push ourselves into, okay, just do it, like just test my app or something like that, because it's we need, if this is the case, then you really need to look at a different cultural dimension that happens, that certain group of people like in certain country, they have like what Hofstad is doing right now. And yeah, hopefully it will help you to get you a better idea about the community and about the people, and hopefully it can um, improve, it can give you some insight on how you can develop your product and services. So there are many things that there are many case studies that actually like involve you can do with the research in your small business, but it can also like a research in like a bigger scale. But in any research that you have, this is some example that in our international research, uh, basically the most important is for you to really understand who is the users you want to research, and based on that you will create um, like a research plan that actually suitable. If this is a group of people who do not read and write, you cannot force them like to fill out a survey. If this group of people are technological minded, then maybe we can do something like the desirable study that we can put inside our web, or asking these people to do the eye tracking testing. So we need to choose the techniques that is suitable for our goal, as well as suitable for our users, because sometimes users are so afraid, like when they are doing the research, because they are afraid that they are going to be tested. And we should avoid this kind of feeling, because otherwise we won't be able to get anything from these users if they are really worried about what is going on. Finally, please tell us what's your experience today. This is the survey. If there is anything you want to learn more, or there is anything you want to improve, yeah, let us know. And yeah, this is we still have a time until 30th of June. If you need any help, if you haven't used it, yeah, please use it. And yeah, this is a good opportunity for you. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you will be you will get something useful from this webinar. Thank you. Bye.